Hello, my name is Jurgen Willems, and in this small presentation I will give a short overview of a study that I did on the participant and societal functionality of non-formal education for youth. And I also looked at how these two functionalities across the world relate to the Human Development Index of different countries. In particular, I looked at the International Scouts and Guides movement as a form of non-formal education. In short, in this study, the participant functionality of non-formal education focuses on the benefits for the participants in the educational program. So examples are the skills and the experiences that people gain through scouting and guiding. Societal functionality regards the benefits for society at large or for whole communities at once. Examples are the development of a stronger civil society, the empowerment of rural communities, and the emancipation of certain groups in society. Both of these functionalities can also be found in the mission statement of the World Organization of the Scouts movement, explicitly referring on the one hand to self-fulfillment of individuals and on the other hand also referring to playing a constructive role in society. Of course, for the full details on the analysis and the results, I refer to the article, and here I just give some highlights. About 2,700 respondents from almost 70 different countries could assess how they thought the participant and societal functionality of the Scouts and Guides movement in their country is perceived. And I analyzed this data with a multi-level regression analysis. The first main finding is that individual answers are about 10% related to the country in which a person lives. Whether this is large or small is open for discussion, but when we realize that this study is focusing on individual perceptions and that of course every person can have very different personal experiences about non-formal education, a significant country variance of 10% is probably not to be neglected. A second main finding is that there is no relationship between the Human Development Index and the participant functionality of the Scouts and Guides movement as a form of non-formal education. This is represented by the flat dotted line in the graph, and it indicates that the participant functionality of the Scouts and Guides movement is perceived to be similar across the world. However, a third main finding is that there is a negative relationship between the Human Development Index and the societal functionality of the Scouts and Guides movement. This supports the logic that there might be a crowding out relationship. This is shown with the dotted line that is going down from the left to the right. This means that when basic provisions of healthcare, education and other economic activities are in place in a country, that the societal functionality of the Scouts and Guides movement in such countries is perceived significantly lower. In other words, when most basic needs in a country are already dealt with, it seems that the role of scouting and guiding as a form of non-formal education has less important or at least less weight in meaning something or having a use for society at large. This negative relationship between the development of a country and the societal functionality of non-formal education, at least for the Scouts and Guides movement, is of course food for thought and can form the basis of a discussion with respect to what can be learned and exchanged between countries with a high Human Development Index and countries with a low development index. Especially when we look at the context of countries with a high Human Development Index, the discussion seems relevant on whether national Scouts associations could and should revive the societal functionality of scouting and guiding. And if this would indeed be a desired outcome, the question on how to reach this should also be discussed. This is currently an open question that invites for a constructive discussion, and it's especially directed towards decision makers of non-formal education and of the Scouts and Guides movement in particular. However, when we consider that there is still a lot of room for societal functionality in countries with a low Human Development Index, more operational and large-scale collaborations between developing and developed countries might be a solution. So this is in a nutshell what the study is about. I try to keep it short, and for the full details and for much more explanation, I refer to the article. So, goodbye.